The Tea Party movement, it seems to be having a deeper impact both in Florida and in the nation's political discourse and activities. Is it real or a passing phenomenon?
I don't think it's a passing phenomenon. I think it's a manifestation of a continuing voting bloc in the Republican Party particularly. I think in the past, many of those same folks have been movement conservatives. Some of them have been what used to be the religious right. They are folks who are reflexively anti-government, generally speaking. They abhor spending and abhor taxes and abhor government services, except for the government services provided to them. And I think it's, to some degree, their current prominence is a function of the pain and anxiety caused by the recession. And when we're butt deep in money again, they'll be less relevant.
Okay. How about either one of you? You want to comment on the reality, the long-lastingness or lack thereof of the Tea Party?
Well,
Sally?
I would take a little bit different approach from Mac, because I think I have to remind everybody we're just 4 months from an election. And so I think at least right now they're very relevant. We are in an economic crisis where spending is out of control, and I'm not sure this is a passing phenomenon. I think voters, particularly people involved with the Tea Party, see that we can't sustain things the way we cannot spend the way we have been spending. We cannot tax our way back to prosperity, and there is real concern. And these are real voters who are watching every day on our 24-hour news cycle how their member of Congress votes, whether or not they shut down the federal government, what they do on the Florida budget. And so I don't think I'm ready to write off their influence as part of the process. We may be seeing more of a sea change in the issues and how voters process information and how they get involved going forward.
Screven, you hear people say that the Tea Party is at least energizing the Republican Party. What effect is the Tea Party having on the Democratic Party?
Well, I think, first of all, it's the best thing that's happened to Democrats since John McCain picked Sarah Palin to run with him. I mean, we just sit back and kind of watch. The Tea Party has its own news network in Fox, and I mean, every day you can turn that on, and I do not believe that while this is, and I think Sally's right, it's if not a relevant, it's a visual part of what's going on in politics right now, but I do not believe that this is a mainstay or a big group of the American public or Floridians. I think it's a small sliver of very vocal, visible people who are rattling their sabers and getting attention. We saw our governor release his budget at a Tea Party rally in Eustis, Florida, for crying out loud. So, they are getting attention. I think the right wing or Republican candidates are concerned about them. They don't want to get outflanked on their right, so they're paying attention to them, but I do not believe that they represent the mainstay of Floridians or United States citizens.
And many of Sally's comments, by the way, I think, are primarily directed at the national scene in terms of spending and stuff like that. In Florida, we have a balanced budget. In the last 3 or 4 years, we've cut billions and billions of dollars from current spending. And as I think President Obama learned in 2010, the election that happened 2 years before doesn't necessarily say much about the election that's going to happen 2 years later. So I think that the electorate was much different in 2010 than it was in 2008. And I suspect it'll be different in 2012 too.
But Mac is right. I mean, there is a focus on the federal budget. In Florida and in many states, there are balanced budget, requirements. So there is a focus on Washington. But many of the leaders of the Tea Party are from Florida. And so I do think they play perhaps a disproportionate role here at the state level. And you'll see that during this legislative session. You already see it with some of the candidates potentially for office in 2012 from Florida and the positions they're taking on issues.
You also see, though, the Tea Party, which started, or a lot of their members started on budget cutting and federal spending. But now we see them getting into other issues, and we see infighting within the Tea Party. Are they going to get into social issues on choice and education and other things? So, you see some fractionalization happening within the Tea Party, which, again, for Democrats, we'll just sit back and watch.